Hello, my friend, and welcome to Wisdom Trek. I am Guthrie Chamberlain, your guide to wisdom and creating a living legacy. Thank you for joining us for our 5-day-per-week wisdom and legacy building podcast. This is day 908 of our trek, and time for our Philosophy Friday series. Each Friday, we will ponder some of the basic truths and mysteries of life and how they can impact us in creating our living legacy. As we continue on this trek called life, sometimes we have questions about life. So our Friday trek is a time where we can ask Gramps. Gramps will answer questions that you might like to ask your dad or granddad, but for whatever reason, this is not possible. No matter how old we are, I know that all of us would like the opportunity to ask Dad or Gramps questions about life in many areas. We will address areas such as finances, relationships, health and fitness, business and work, home repairs and renovations, seasons of life, spiritual and biblical questions, and any other areas that come our way. As your fellow sojourner and mentor on this trek that we call life, it is Gramps' goal to provide you with practical wisdom and advice about any area of life. It is crucial that I receive a constant flow of questions, so please submit your questions to Guthrie@wisdom-trek.com, and Gramps will answer them on our Friday podcast. We are broadcasting from our studios at the Big House in Marietta, Ohio. I have always been a proponent of setting goals or milestones in your life in order to achieve the desired outcomes in all areas of life. As I have matured and grown in wisdom and in life, I have realized that there is actually something more important than setting goals. So the question for today is, Hey Gramps, I desire to reach milestones in all areas of my life, such as spiritually, physically, financially, and in relationships. I have tried to set goals, but seem to quickly lose focus and rarely achieve them. What can I do? So today we want to look at goals versus systems. We all have things that we want to achieve in our lives. Getting into better shape, building a successful business, raising a wonderful family, writing that best-selling book, winning a championship, or so on. For most of us, the path to those things start with setting specific and actionable goals. At least, this is how I approached life when I was younger. I would set goals for business growth, for an exercise regimen, for devotional time, and for relationships. What I have come to realize, however, when it comes to actually getting things done and making progress in the areas of life that are important to you, there is a much better way to do things. It all comes down to the difference between goals and systems. So what is the difference between goals and systems? Let me give you a few examples. If you are a coach, your goal is to win a championship. Your system is what the team does in practice every day. If you're a writer, your goal is to write a book. Your system is the writing schedule that you follow each week. If you are a runner, your goal is to run a marathon. Your system is a training schedule of several months' preparation, starting small and incrementally increasing. And if you're an entrepreneur, your goal is to build $1 million business. Your system is your sales, marketing, and financial processes. Now for the really interesting question. If you completely ignored your goals and focused on your system, would you still get results? For example, if you desired to run a marathon in 12 months and you focused on running a little bit each day while incrementally increasing the distance each week, would you still get results? Indeed you would. As a personal example, this is my 908th episode of my Wisdom Trek podcast over the past 3 years. The average length of these short episodes are around 1,200 words. This means that I have written over 1 million words in the past 3 years. I didn't have that as an initial goal. It was just my desire to be faithful and consistent in writing and recording the podcast 5 days a week. One of my goals for the future is to write a space-based Christian fantasy novel and publish it in both print and audio. Since a typical book is about 50 to 60,000 words, I realize that I have already written enough to fill over 16 books in the past 3 years. Now, if I switch my focus to podcast writing, the system I have in place of writing 1,000 words or more a day will allow me to complete the goal of writing several chronicles of a space-based novel. All of these figures were a bit of a surprise because I never set out the goal to produce 1,000 podcasts or writing 1 million words. I didn't measure my progress in relationship to some benchmark. I have a loose guideline for a word count of about 600 for my short episodes and 1,500 for my longer episodes, but this is just a guideline. What I did focus on was producing 5 podcasts per week. 2 of them are about 5 minutes in length, and 3 of them are about 10 minutes in length. This was the determining factor of the word count. After sticking with the schedule for over 3 years now, the result is over 1 million written and spoken words. I focused on my system and the process of doing the work. In the end, the results speak for themselves. Let's talk about 3 more reasons why you should focus on systems instead of goals. The first one is, goals reduce your current happiness. When you're working toward a goal, you are essentially saying, I am not good enough yet, but when I reach my goal, I will be. The problem with this mindset is that you are teaching yourself to always put happiness and success off until the next goal is achieved. Once I reach my goal, then I'll be happy, you say. Once I have achieved my goal, then I will be successful. The solution to this problem is to commit to a process and not a goal. Choosing a big goal puts a huge burden on you. We do this to ourselves all the time. We place unnecessary stress on ourselves to lose weight, to succeed in business, to have a successful marriage, or to write the best-selling novel. Instead, you can keep these things simple and reduce your step by focusing on a daily process and then sticking with your schedule rather than worrying about the big life-changing goals. When you focus on the practice instead of the performance or end goal, you can enjoy the present moment and improve at the same time. The second reason to choose systems over goals is goals are strangely at odds with our long-term process. You might think that your goal will keep you motivated over the long term, but that is not always true. Consider someone desiring to lose 25 pounds. Many people will work hard for months, limiting what they eat or jumping on the newest diet fad. But as soon as they reach their goal, they soon gain the weight back. Their goal was to lose 25 pounds, and now that they have reached that goal, it no longer motivates them. When all of your hard work is focused on a particular goal, what is left to push for after you achieve it? This can create a type of yo-yo effect where people lose weight just to gain it back again. This type of cycle makes it difficult to build upon your progress in the long term. The solution is to release the need for immediate results. Losing weight, as with nearly any objective, must first begin in your mind, which requires lifestyle change. The goal or milestone in this scenario is to reach your ideal weight range and then maintain it for life. This will require more than just a goal, but establishing an entire system of eating, exercising, and sleeping. This will require a lifestyle change that has no expiration date. In a situation like the one above, a goal-based mentality will tell you to finish the diet once you have reached your goal. Systems-based thinking is never about hitting a particular number, but it's about sticking to a lifestyle change process with a changed mindset. That's why systems are more valuable than goals. Goals are about short-term results. Systems are about long-term, life-changing process. In the end, the process always wins. And the third reason to consider systems over goals is goals suggest that you can control things that you have no control over. You can't predict or control the future, although most of us desire to do so. Every time we set a goal, what we try to do is to predict and then control our future. We try to plan out where we will be and when we will make it there. We try to predict how quickly we can make progress, even though we have no idea what circumstances or situations may arise along the way. So the solution to this problem is to build feedback loops. When you begin to change your lifestyle, you need to establish feedback loops which will allow you to have checkpoints on your progress. Feedback loops are important for building a good system because they allow you to keep track of the many different pieces without feeling the pressure to predict what is going to happen with everything. Forget about predicting or controlling the future and build a system that can signal when you need to make adjustments. And this all boils down to that we need to fall in love with systems. None of this is to say that goals are useless. However, I have found that goals are good for planning your progress and systems are good for actually making progress. Goals can provide direction and even push you forward in the short term, but eventually, a well-designed system will always win. Having a system is what matters. Committing to a lifestyle change process is what makes the difference. Setting up systems takes dedication and work, but it is so worth it. This reminds me of Hebrews chapter 12, verse 11, which says, "No discipline is enjoyable while it is happening. It's painful. But afterwards there will be a peaceful harvest of right living for those who are trained in this way." And that answers our question to Gramps this week. Next week, we will have a new question to Ask Gramps. If you have a question that you would like answered, please email them to guthrie@wisdom-trek.com, and Gramps will answer them on our Friday podcast with wisdom and philosophy that Gramps has gained over the many years of experience and study. I know that you'll find these insights interesting, practical, and profitable in living a rich and satisfying life. Our next trek will be Meditation Monday, where we will help you to reflect on those most important areas of life. So encourage your friends and family to join us, and then come along with us on Monday for another day of Wisdom Trek, Creating a Legacy. If you'd like to listen to any of the past 907 daily treks or read the associated journals, they are all available at wisdom-trek.com. And I encourage you to subscribe to Apple Podcasts or Google Podcasts so that each day's trek will be downloaded to you automatically. And thank you so much for allowing me to be your guide, your mentor, but most importantly, I am your friend as I serve you through the Wisdom Trek podcast and journal. And as we take this trek of life together, let us always live abundantly, love unconditionally, listen intentionally, learn continuously, lend to others generously, lead with integrity, and then leave a living legacy each day. I am Guthrie Chamberlain, reminding you to keep moving forward, enjoy your journey, and then create a great day every day. See you on Monday.